All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura. Welcome to Mondays with the Mayor for another week. During this time each week, I just share some news about what's going on in the city this week, as well as what City Council is working on. And this week, I wanted to highlight our Heart of Golden efforts. The city is hosting another public meeting tonight. It's at 5:30 in City Council chambers. The latest Heart of Golden maps are available now online, and they'll be available this evening. But if you want to check them out on Guiding Golden first before you come, you can visit there and take a look at them. If you can't make the meeting this evening, but you would still like to provide feedback about the maps, you can provide those comments and feedback on the Guiding Golden website for Heart of Golden. So please do check that out. Public meeting tonight, and City Council will be talking Heart of Golden tomorrow night. But I just want to share that I've heard, I know other councilors, the city have heard concern about some of the changes that are shown on the map from what exists right now today in the corridor. And a lot of the time, the language that's shared with me suggests that the person is concerned that the changes are imminent, that they've seen a map and that map represents an actuality that's going to happen this year or right away. And when I talk to people about the Heart of Golden, and I'm sure we'll talk about this a lot at council, I talk about it as a generational project. So the generation before me made a lot of investments in the city and along 10th Street. And it was based on the city's needs at the time. And what we're doing now is looking at what investments do we want to make for the next generation. So when City Hall was built in its current location in the 60s, Clear Creek was not an area of recreation in this city. That has certainly changed, as we all know. And the community's desire for more green space, more trails, more recreation along the creek is here now. And I expect that will be the continued need and desire long into the future. So the ideas and the designs that are shown on the maps will take many years to kind of shape into a new reality. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to discuss Heart of Golden, like I said, at our council meeting Tuesday night. And our goal for City Council is to adopt a design this year. We've been getting feedback, and we've had multiple iterations and multiple maps for the last couple years, and we want to adopt a final one. After that, there'll be more discussions on funding, more engagement opportunities as we move from kind of that conceptual design to actual projects, and future refinements, more specific things like where does public art go, or where are we going to have potential future trail connections. All of that will happen in future meetings as projects get, specific projects get identified. So they're not part of the map right now, those details, but they will be. And joining me is our acting city manager, Carly Lorenz. And Carly's been working on the Heart of Golden since the start. And Carly, kind of what's after tonight and council tomorrow night, what are the next steps for Heart of Golden?
Sure. So we plan to keep gathering feedback online, as the mayor said, and really looking at coming back to council at the end of May with a overall framework map to approve. And so again, as the mayor said several times, we really see this as a framework to work from and kind of a big picture multi-year plan and not a set in stone plan. So we plan to, after this overall framework gets adopted, really focus on the east end of the map, which is the new property that the city purchased over by Coors, and really looking at that specific area as a phase one of the project and talking about what are the land uses of some of that potential partnership opportunity we've identified on the map. And then also the City Hall building and more parking that we have positioned over in that area. What does the funding look like? How does the land play into the funding? And really focusing on that for the next year or two, maybe even longer. So that's really our next part. And then as far as kind of the detail uses in the core of the project, we really see that as happening in future years and coming back to the community engagement table and talking about how have uses changed? Have we built new fields? Are there better places for fields? Is this still a good place for a field? Those types of questions, and really having another conversation with the community to see what that center part looks like. But that will likely be within 3 or 4 years, something like that.
That's great. Once we adopt a concept, that's just the start of the work, because identifying how we're going to fund any future projects certainly has to come before anything gets replaced.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Terrific. So Heart of Golden, a lot going on this week. Please check it out. Check out Guide in Golden if you haven't visited lately. The new maps that have some updates from comments received in the last couple of months are available on there. I also wanted to mention today, if you had not already seen, that on Friday at noon, our fire chief, Jerry Stricker, enacted Stage 1 fire restrictions in the city. Jefferson County also instituted Stage 1 fire restrictions. Those of us who have lived in Colorado or lived in Golden for a while understand the very real risk of fire danger and are likely familiar with what Stage 1 means. But if you're not, or if you're new to Colorado, what Stage 1 fire restrictions do is it prohibits certain types of fires or burning. So any open fires, any open burning, things like bonfires are prohibited, open flame torches, or welding. So all of those things are prohibited in wildfire risk areas. The other thing, and this affects some of us who live here and right in the city, it's the use of recreational fires within 30 feet of undeveloped areas. Now that includes green belts and open space lands. So many of our neighborhoods do border open space or greenbelt area, and you're prohibited from having a recreational fire in your backyard within 30 feet of those areas. So there's a lot more information on the website, on the city website, about the fire restrictions. If you'd like to learn more, you can find it there. And just want to reiterate, we are under very high fire risk right now. If you've been paying any attention to the local news, you've seen how some other communities are being impacted and had some fires break out, especially on last Friday. So I know there have been a number of residents who were very concerned about conditions on Friday and expressed those concerns. And I want to thank our police and fire departments who worked in conjunction with other city departments, public works, parks, to help keep the city safe on such an incredibly risky day with the high winds and the high temperatures. And also want to thank many of you for paying attention to those fire restrictions and adhering to the local warnings, keeping our community safe by following those restrictions. So thanks to everybody for their work, and keep paying attention. I think it's going to be a long fire season. City Council has a meeting tomorrow night. As I mentioned, we have a very long agenda. I'm going to be working hard on my meeting time management skills tomorrow night because we have a lot of ground to cover. I first want to mention that we have one proclamation, and that's for Public Service Recognition Week. And I ask that everybody in the community just take the time to recognize all of the contributions of our dedicated City of Golden employees who work so hard every day to make this an incredible city. We also have something that's always sort of fun, which is the presentation of the 2022 Sustainability Awards. Those are always great to see who was awarded and what they have done in our community regarding sustainability. Also have on the agenda to appoint the new members of our boards and commissions. We accepted the applications, did interviews earlier in the month, and will officially appoint members to the open seats on the boards and commissions. And I again thank everybody who took the time to submit an application. We have wonderfully qualified and dedicated individuals in Golden, which makes it so hard every year to make that final selection. It makes it so challenging. Appreciate everybody who takes the time to step up, raise your hand, and want to volunteer for a great city. Bigger discussions. We have Clear Creek management discussion again, and this is a discussion that's going to lead to potential future adoption of new policies at our May 10th meeting. The policies that are under consideration are regulation of commercial recreation activities that are operating on the creek within the city limits, and also a policy regarding disposable containers. So I'm sure we will have quite a bit of discussion about those new policies on this first reading before it comes back the second time. A lot of activity, a lot of work happening on the Clear Creek management side of things for this upcoming summer season. We also have our executive recruiter coming to join us at the meeting to give an update on where things are going in the recruitment, how things are proceeding along. And we will also have council's discussion at that time on the program for how we're going to review and interview the finalists. The idea is to have a similar process as we did back in 2015 with different stakeholder groups having an opportunity to interact with the finalists. A couple of changes I'm suggesting this year, and one is to add some time at an event or space for a business community to be able to meet with the finalists. We did not carve out any specific time for our business community, as well as some additional interaction with the management team that are the direct reports of the city manager. So a couple of new things being recommended. We'll have some good discussion at council. We will certainly have still the employee meet and greet, as well as the resident, the citizen meet and greet with the opportunity to provide comments back to council. All of that will be under discussion. Couple of other things that are still on the agenda for tomorrow, a special events discussion. Special events are coming back after a kind of quiet couple of years with COVID cancellations for events. The city continues to look to how to improve the process for hosting events, the location, the impacts, how to minimize the impacts to the community. And so we'll have a discussion about some of those changes and opportunities around special events. Council will also receive an update regarding the public art framework plan that is currently being developed under the authority of our Public Art Commission. And related to that, but separate item, we're going to have another discussion on our sort of continuing discussion here around Council's arts and culture strategic priority for this year, which is to determine the city's role in encouraging and supporting arts and culture in the community. So if you're interested in arts and culture, please do stay tuned for that discussion and as we help to identify next steps there. We also encourage everybody to attend a city council meeting. If you can attend but you have some thoughts on any of these topics, you can send an email to publiccomments@cityofgolden.net. Your public comment received via email does become part of our public comment section and is available to all of council and part of that public comment period on our agenda. So please do send any thoughts to council that way. And as always, you can send me your questions, or if you want to know how something goes at the council meeting after the fact and you don't stay up late to watch it, that's fine. You can always send me a question and I'm happy to have a conversation and let you know what's going on. So with that, I think that covers what's happening in the city for at least the next couple of days. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.